with the resolution $500 strike pay that you supported in the last cycle. Appreciate that. As does every member that's been on strike for the last 2 years and received that benefit.
Right.
So my question is this: there's a movement to increase strike pay to the same relative amount compared to take-home pay. That amount would be $625 per week. In 2028, would you consider supporting that?
So look, I leave this up to the membership, but here's the deal with that. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for having the most strike pay we can have. But with that, I'll say this. I mean, you know, every time I speak, yesterday included, when I was at your local, I had members saying, want to know when they're going to take the strike pay back, or take the dues money back down to 2 hours a month. And we can't have it both ways. And like I said, I tell people this all day long. I pay 10 hours of pay a month for the protection we get with having a union. But you know, there's people, you know, that are, and I think there's people for political reasons that are trying to push, we need to take the dues back down to 2 hours a month. And look, that's a membership decision. It's a constitutional convention decision. I have no issue. I believe the higher the strike pay is, you know, it gives us more power. It gives workers the ability to hold the line longer. We had a strike at Lockheed Martin recently, and on day one, 100 people crossed the, or 50 people crossed the picket line, and you know, that kills the solidarity right away. And people were trickling in, you know, every week, you know, more people. So I believe in that, but to me, it's just people need to talk reality here and say, like, if we're going to pay higher strike pay, we've got to. I don't know if we have to increase dues again. That's like a cardinal sin to even say. But at the end of the day, like when we talk about mapping out the big three strike, if we would have done an all-out strike, like I said, in 2.5 months, it'd have been gone. And that's just, so we just have to keep those things in mind when we talk about that. But I have no issue, like I said, I think we need to make it as good as we can. We have the highest strike pay of any union out there, but you know, I'm not going to stand in the way of anything with that. It's just we got to make sure on the flip side that we don't screw ourselves by cutting the ability to replenish the strike fund as we strike, because we'll be back in trouble again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.